So today what I want to do is talk about another SHTF skill. In this current economic collapse, you can make side money or repair your own problems. What I did here is I had a lot of rotten door jambs, and what I'll do is cut in a couple photos. So what I did is I cut them out and I found trim or made trim that looked like it and spliced it back in. And where the splices are, the big areas I filled with marine putty. The other areas that were real thin, most people use caulk. What I like to do first is use a liquid marine epoxy to fill those areas. Now, a lot of this was damage, and I had to build the corners and stuff back up. And what I do is use a mixture of scrapers, sanders, and block sanders to shape this material. What I'll do now is show you two places that I've shaped it. So this is one example. I have 3 pieces of wood here that I cut and spliced. And what I like to do is get it smooth enough by hand working with a scraper that I can't feel any difference when I run my hand over the different pieces of wood. Now what I've done here is done the block sanding, scraping, and hand sanding. And what I'll do is take and toenail everything in with a punch. Then I'll come back with a machine sander and blend everything one more time. Now, as we move up the door, this is another area I spliced. And you can see how smooth that is, and you can barely perceive the gap. The gap here was 1/8 of an inch on part of this, and some of the wood was missing. So I had to make a corner and repair this. Now what I want to do is tell you, I usually put on more epoxy and putty than I need. And when my dad taught me how to do this, he always said, if you don't put a lot on, you don't have to sand a lot off, which is true. So I try to live by that. But sometimes that doesn't happen. And the more often you do this type of work, the better you get at it. Once I do the final machine sanding on this, caulk it, prime, and paint it, you'll never be able to tell that this is 5 pieces of wood. So this is another thing you can do to repair your own work or do this for profit for other people. So when I was younger, I used to do a tremendous amount of this work for wealthier people, and it provided a good source of income. So we're back on the other side looking at this. This is an area I used the marine liquid epoxy and built the area back up. This is a part I've already scraped, sanded, and filled. So you can see a little bit of hand work. Don't be afraid of it. You can blend this stuff, and the better you can blend it, the more money people will pay you. So this takes practice, but don't be afraid of it. So here you can see an example. We got a scraper on the right, and I like to keep the blade on that razor sharp. And you can sharpen that with a flat file. That costs about $10. Then I have a large sanding flat pad and a coarse flat pad, and then I have a lot of sandpaper that is not within the video frame. That's what I use to do all the preliminary work and shaping. Once I've done that, I come back with a power sander and do one fine blend and go over the surfaces one more time before I clean and prime it. So please comment, rate, subscribe. We'll see you on the next video.